Before I start this video, I want to thank everybody that like, comment, share, and subscribe. I see it. God see it. Blessings to you in your situations. Just in case you don't make it to the end of the video, I wanted to thank you now. Thank you. And I mean that.
This haunted house that was built on a graveyard and cemetery and
legitimately haunted.
But the scariest, most traumatizing, if you want to call it that, experience that I've had, I was laying in bed, jumped out of my bed, ran through him into the bathroom, curled up on the toilet, and started screaming. Stayed in this haunted house that was built on a graveyard and cemetery and
legitimately haunted?
Legitimately haunted.
All right, we got to dive into this.
Legit, bro. Like,
hold on, how old are you?
I was at the time, 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years old. That was my first experience when I'll never forget this experience. So I'm laying in bed on this, you can look up this old place. It's Walker Drive, Fort Meade, near Fort Meade. There's no more houses there. It's just all built up and torn down. But lived in this all brick house that was connected to another home that if you poke the hole through the wall, you could see the neighbors in the adjacent room. Few 100-square-foot home, very, very, very small. And my dad would always say if you stood in the front door, you could spit and you'd hit the backyard. It was a very small home. So as a kid, we would always hear like people running upstairs, footsteps, and my parents would, ignore it. It's just the house creaking or whatever. And these footsteps would start to come down the stairs. You'd hear heavy footsteps just going around upstairs, and they start to go downstairs and they would stop. A few other times you would hear conversations, but like whispers or like staticky whispers on a radio station you couldn't tune into all the way. And as a kid, you don't think too much of it. You just hear stuff. But the scariest, most traumatizing, if you want to call it that, experience that I've had, I was laying in bed, and to this day, I'm paranoid of sleeping on my back because of it. Laying in bed on my back, and something woke me up. And I see a soldier who, at the time, I had no idea what his uniform looked like. It was different than my dad's. I didn't find out later that it was like a old Civil War style uniform. And I see a soldier walk past my doorway. I rub my eyes, put the blankets over my head, rub them some more, and look back down. And now it's not just one, there's soldiers, a line of them, walking, and they would turn to go down the stairs into the main living room space. Maybe 10 soldiers passed by. The last soldier, he got in my doorway, turned, looked, and started to walk into my room towards me. Jumped out of my bed, ran through him into the bathroom, curled up on the toilet, and started screaming. My dad runs out, and I'm screaming at him, please don't spank me, because that's what normally would happen. And he came in, grabbed me, held me, and I told him what I saw as best as I could, and he says, I know, son, I know. I saw it too. That was my first real ghost experience.
Whoa, he did see it too?
Yeah, well, to pass by, his room was to the left of my room. And yeah, so I guess they were coming out the wall in the hallway, walking past his door and my door before they went downstairs. And he saw it, I saw it, terrified me. And the looks of their clothes, I'll never forget. The uniforms they wore the long gun with the musket, or not musket, but it had a long, not sword, but knife, bayonet at the tip of it. And they were marching with the little cap hats down the stairs. I had never seen that uniform a day in my life, and I won't forget it.
And the crazy thing about that is years later, he became Nick Irving, the best sniper in the U.S., one of the top snipers in the U.S. So as a child, he was seeing these soldiers in his room. You know what's really creepy? Okay, it's creepy if you see a ghost, right? We know that that's creepy. But what's really creepy, what makes it even more creepy, is when somebody else see it with you. I remember me and my family, we moved to this small little house in Phoenix. Come to find out, they was doing witchcraft in there years before. And we could see the ghosts. I remember one night, I woke up, I was halfway woke, halfway asleep, and I seen the ghost, a woman. It was a white woman in a white dress. It looked like a wedding dress. And she looked like smoke. And she floated through the room. And I'm looking at it, and it went right into the air conditioner. The next morning, I told my woman, and she said that she seen it too. And I was like, wow, this is even more creepier because now it's real. If I was to just see it by myself, I could just say that I was tripping, say that I was high or crazy. But now that she see it, I know it's really ghost in this damn house. And we seen more in that house too.
The last guy walking into my room. Yeah.
Did you have more experiences?
Yeah. I've had one, I guess more recent, when within the past 15 years or so, I was working at a gun range called Rifles Only. It's a big precision rifle training facility. And me and one of the instructors, his name's Win, and we're driving down this dirt road to get to where the facility is. It's at nighttime. We had just gotten back from the bar. I wasn't drinking. I was designated driver, but I was sitting passenger seat. But regardless, we're driving and I hear, it sounded like a radio came on, the static. And I heard this old lady chuckling, laughing, and saying something. I couldn't understand what she was saying, but it sounded like she was in the floorboard. That's what it sounded like. And I look at him and he looks over at me, and it completely went off. It stopped. He looks over at me and he's like, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Dude, you heard that, right?" And he's like, "It's not my radio." He had an old pickup truck. The wires are all over the place, and it's an old beat up pickup truck. Radio does not work. And we just kind of ignored it after that. Never talked about it. He didn't want to believe it, but we both heard what we heard. It was an old lady in the floorboard talking to some, I don't know what she was saying. So old
Whoa.
lady.
So one night, me and my woman get back. She used to have a job where she worked nights, and I come pick her up around 12 midnight. I drive her back to the house. We'll smoke a blunt in the bathroom because the kids was babies at that time. They was real little, right? My two oldest daughters, they was real little. So we'll go in the bathroom while they sleep, close the door, and we'll smoke a blunt. And we'll open up the window. In the window, it was a little cubby. For all of the windows on this side of the apartment, we shared this little cubby. If I would have looked out the window, put my head out and looked up, and my neighbor up top would have put her head out and looked up, we would have been looking at each other. And then the neighbor across the hall, like the bathrooms all shared this little cubby, right? And in the bottom of the cubby was this hole. And the hole led to the basement. It was just a hole that had water damage, and the weather messed up the hole, and it led to the basement. So me and my woman, we used to smoke in the bathroom, and it's about 12:45 at the time, and we smoking, and we're talking about stuff like this. And all of a sudden, we heard the wind was blowing, but not that hard. And every so few seconds, we'll hear, "Help, help." And there was a woman's voice, and we trying to figure out where it's at. And we realized that it's in the cubby hole, the hole, right? The space. I can't describe it. I'm trying to describe it. It's a space. And it's not any of our neighbors. And we like, what the hell, who is that? And we realize it's coming from the hole in the basement. And then it said, "Help. I'm trapped. I'm under here." And I looked at my woman and I said, "Did you hear that?" But it was a voice in the wind. The wind was blowing a little bit. I hope I explained that to where you could visualize that right now. And it was a voice up under there, but nobody was under there though. Nobody was under there. Nobody was in the basement. Yeah. I've lived in a few haunted houses, haunted apartments. Yeah, ghosts are very real.
When, if you're out there, you know what I'm talking about.
Damn.
But that's my experience.
Well, let's go back to childhood. So you grew up in a haunted house in Maryland.
Yep. And it was built on a cemetery. That was like pretty much, and as a kid, I remember, okay, so this is the weird portion. My mom, her side of the family, my grandmother, they've been introduced to like voodoo or magic. And I knew this trick as a kid of how to listen to hell, with the sewing needle and a cup and, to listen to the screams of hell. I don't know if I never heard anything, but you hear, I think it's just the echo inside the cup. But we would leave a devil pie for the devil or whatever. We would make it out of mud and stuff like that. Me and my next door neighbor, Kia and Tasha, 2 girls, and we were doing stuff like that as kids, like weird stuff like that. My sister, another scary story for you. We hear a knock on the door, or she did, and she goes to the back door, and there's 2 women standing there in all white. There's no white people where we live at. There's 2 blonde hair ladies standing at the door. They took her out to the playground, and when she came back, she learned how to make where you take a gallon of milk, cut it out to make a bird feeder. And she came back with that, and the ladies taught her how to make it, but there were no ladies. So yeah, that was another incident.
Wow.
I don't know, but she knows that one vividly.
Very strange.
That. Yeah.
Very strange. How many siblings did you have?
At that time, living with us, we had 3. So me, my younger sister, and my older sister. And I have another sister I just found out about like a year ago. And my brother, I thought was my friend when I first met him. In Florida, I thought that this kid was cool, but turned out he was my brother too. So I have, that I know of, 5.
Holy shit.
Yeah, my dad was getting around, man. He was getting around.
Right on. Well, let's go back. So you grew up around voodoo?
I knew about it, like different spells and stuff like that.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.
We waking up, people! Look at this. The CIA just released a document on the black web. We are rising. Look at her running on water. Don't that look like a certain story? Look at that. Oh, they trying to catch you. Can't catch her.
Dude, I'm not bugging out, bro. No way. You guys are all bugging out. Whoever says that the sun looked like this 15 years ago, 10 years ago, nah, bro. It didn't beam this way. It's beaming differently. The sun is beaming differently than it used to. I'm telling you, how doesn't everybody else notice this?
This phone allows you to see into parallel dimensions.
Check this out, y'all.
Okay, Berenstain Bears. How we remember. Now watch this. This phone allows you to see into parallel dimension.
That could be AI. And if it's not AI, I want to know where I could get one or 2.
Who is this right here? Now, this is supposed to be Martin Lawrence. But how does he look like his old self, like young? Like it looks like he went into a time machine. This man, mind you, is 60 years old currently, right? So how did he change his appearance so much to look younger? How? I guess it's just weight loss, right? Right? And, hey, Martin, if it is just weight loss, I want to know what is your secret, because I need to drop some pounds myself. Because why do these celebrities look different every single time you see them, you know? They like change their looks. They look younger. They'll look older. They'll look completely different. What is really going on? I don't know, guys. This is the Martin I remember right here, right here. So how does he look like he went into a time machine and he looks like he's like 20 or 30 again? Something ain't right.
Let me see something real quick. Remember these?
We all know Will Smith and Martin Logan are best friends, right? But get this, these clones are best friends too. Shocking, right? When I saw them, I thought it had to be some kind of filter, but nope, they're real people. We all know Will Smith.
What's up with that? Are these lookalikes? Are these clones? They even got a Jackie Chan one. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Jackie Chan.
É nada, que eu tô vendo isso. Ô, rapaz, é os bad boys, velho. Mas ele não lançou tudo agora, rapaz. Tá na rua, é.
Senhoras, passas, está sendo chunga.
Look, I'm telling you, the more you travel, the more you're gonna realize that people have twins. Yes. What those two guys, the Martin Lawrence and the Will Smith lookalikes, they are really Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, but in a different dimension. I made a video about it on SR&BG, man.
Street cred after this, sir. This is my guy right here. And yeah, I was uneasy for a little bit, but
You my man, possum pants, 100 bands.
What's up, boy? How you? You fly as shit, boy.
Now, why all these videos on people claiming to be aliens, and it's only a select few people that are doing this? Is this some kind of social experiment and they're trying to get us ready for something? Because you know, the more you see something, the more...
Our timeline's overlapping so much now that objects are literally colliding. This man saw something and he is baffled, and so am I, honestly.
Have you ever witnessed something that you said to yourself after it happened, there's no way I can tell anybody about this. Nobody will believe me.
Yes.
I'll just keep it to myself.
Yes.
That's exactly what just happened to me, and I'm going to share it with you. And you can think I'm crazy if you want to. I don't care. I've not had anything to drink today. I've not had anything to smoke, any pills or anything. I am totally sober. Now, I'm driving down the highway, and there's a white pickup truck at an intersection just above me, and he's pulling out. He got the green light, and he's pulling out. As he pulls out, it was as if an invisible vehicle hit the back end of his truck and spun it around. And I mean, it did some damage to it too, because as I was driving by, I was looking at it. It tore the back end of that truck all to pieces. There was no other vehicle there. Honestly, I looked everywhere. I have never in my life witnessed anything like this. Tell me if you've ever witnessed an invisible vehicle hit another car. That is just too wild.
If an old white man say it, you know it has to be true.
There's judges,
I'm just messing with y'all.
lawyers, social workers, counselors, child support officers. All of these exist for the moment she says, you know what? I don't want this man in my house anymore. Now, when I tell you all of those things are in place, they're designed for this very thing, the absence and the removal of male authority, okay?
Yo, where the fuck are the cool-ass, weird motherfuckers at? The motherfuckers that think they're aliens, that have a good-ass music taste, the black sheep, probably from the fucking 90s, that are in the fucking anime, that are trying to talk about some crazy fucking conspiracies. Where are they hiding? I might be losing my mind.
Now I see all of those people are being gang stalked. A lot of us are making content. Some of us are in mental institutions. We around though.
One day you just started taking losses back to back. No car, no house, no job, no medical insurance. You know what I'm saying? No car insurance. You just started losing stuff back to back to back. I want you to remember that moment. Because God finna bless you the same way. It's just finna keep coming, non-stop. He set you up for this. One day you
gotta love this. Even being considered masters in guerrilla warfare themselves, the Vietnamese military feared the Native American soldiers the most because of their accuracy, their brutality, and calmness in guerrilla warfare tactics. Now that's saying something.
The minute I started telling the truth, they called me crazy. That's what Michael Jackson said. And not on stage, not in a music video. He said it when the cameras weren't supposed to be rolling. Because behind the sequins, behind the moonwalk, behind the pop culture icon, was a man in danger. A man who was trying to break free, and a man who, according to some, was silenced before he could finish the job. Let's be very clear. Michael Jackson didn't just accidentally offend the most powerful people in entertainment. He went to war with them. And right before he died, he was doing something no other artist had dared to do. He was trying to own the entire music industry. It starts with a catalog, not just any catalog, the Sony ATV Music Publishing catalog. We're talking about millions of songs, the Beatles, Elvis Presley, Bob Dylan, Marvin Gaye, music that prints money every single stream, every single commercial license. And in 1985, Michael Jackson bought it. He didn't just buy some shares, he owned it outright. And the industry hated him for it. Think about it. One of the biggest black artists in the world, quietly purchasing the rights to the entire foundation of Western pop music. That wasn't just business. That was revolution. Even Paul McCartney warned him not to do it. Not because it was a bad deal, because he knew what kind of enemies it would make. But Michael didn't back down. He merged the catalog with Sony's, giving him 50% control over the most valuable music library on the planet. He had the keys to the kingdom. And that's when everything started to change. They called him a freak. They called him a predator. They said he bleached his skin. They said he hated being black. They said he was a reclusive weirdo who slept in hyperbaric chambers and held baby dolls. But none of that started until he took control. Before that, he was the king of pop, a global icon. Every door opened, every hand was extended. After that, the media turned, the lawsuits began, the narrative shifted, because Michael Jackson stopped being profitable. He stopped being predictable, and he started speaking up. There's one speech, rare, mostly hidden. He's standing in front of a crowd, not performing, but warning. He says, "The history books are lies. The media is manipulated. The industry is a conspiracy." Not figuratively, literally. He uses that word, conspiracy, not once, multiple times. He says, "The minute I started telling the truth, they called me a freak." That wasn't entertainment, that was a confession. A man who realized that the empire he helped build was rotten to the core. He didn't just own Beatles masters, he owned his own music. And that's the one thing artists are never supposed to have. Ownership equals freedom. Freedom equals threat. Michael Jackson was becoming too powerful, not just in influence, but in assets. He was worth more dead than alive. A living Michael Jackson, controversial, uncontrollable, suing record labels, speaking out against Sony, accusing Tommy Mottola of being a devil. A dead Michael Jackson, a goldmine. You can repackage the music, you can erase the accusations, you can sell the catalog, you can control the narrative. Sound familiar? The same playbook they ran on Prince, on Whitney, on Sam Cooke, on Tupac, on XXX Tentacion. Own the art, control the story, milk the legend. They tell you it's overdose, heart failure. But behind the curtain, there's always a pattern. His final years, he was planning a massive comeback. 50 sold-out shows in London, a global reintroduction, a direct threat to the system that buried him. But weeks before opening night, he died, mysteriously. Alone in a mansion, surrounded by handlers with prescription drugs in his system. His doctor, Conrad Murray, is blamed. But ask anyone who's looked into it, they'll tell you, Murray was a pawn, a fall guy. Michael was being watched, medicated. He had lost weight. He had trouble sleeping. He told friends, "They're trying to kill me." He wasn't talking about strangers. He was talking about them. The same they that own the labels, own the media, own the catalogs, own the legacies. After his death, Sony acquired full control of the catalog he once owned. They paid billions. Now they profit off every stream, every remix, every posthumous release. And the man who fought for that ownership, gone, silenced. They said it was an accident, but the timing, the context, the buildup, it all points to something deeper. Michael Jackson was a glitch in the matrix, a man who went from puppet to threat, from superstar to target. And in the end, he tried to tell us. But most people weren't listening. We were too distracted by the headlines, too entertained by the circus, too caught up in scandals to see the setup. He told us who the real enemy was. He said the industry was evil, that Sony was corrupt, that the media was fake. He exposed them before it was trendy, before it was conspiracy, before the red pills and rabbit holes, and they buried him for it. It's what happens every time someone tries to break the system. They rise, they speak, they get framed. Then the corporations take over. The media spins the story. We're left with a sanitized version of a legend, a version that makes them money and never threatens the machine again. So the question isn't what happened to Michael Jackson. The real question is who benefited when he died? Who gained control? Who got richer, safer, stronger? Because Michael didn't just want to entertain, he wanted to own his art, control his message, rewrite the rules. And that's the one thing the industry will never allow. Because the second an artist breaks their chains, the system breaks them. Was Michael Jackson just another troubled celebrity? Or was he a man who saw the truth and paid the ultimate price for saying it out loud? You be the judge. If you're awake, you already know what to do. Hit the link in our bio and subscribe to our free underground newsletter.